Guys, thanks for joining us. So tonight we decided to do a little test of a very unique technology that one of our favourite shaft manufacturers, Accra, has within their line, and they're kind of known for having sort of very innovative technologies such as die match, which is dynamically matching shafts as they progress through driver, fairway and hybrid, making sure you can get a truly blended set of shafts within a series. They're renowned for doing stuff like that and very much catering towards guys like us, the club builders, the club fitters, and you know, the things that we like to do to get the absolute best performance out of golf clubs.
Right.
So one of the ones I really wanted to touch on tonight was their constant flex technology. Right. So Accra have, across all weight categories, so whether it's a 50 gram, 60 gram, 70 or 80 gram, an M5 is the exact same flex.
And are they the only ones that do that?
Only ones in the industry that do
the
that.
CPM rating, so this is the 455,
Correct.
465, 475.
Yep.
They're all different weights, but same CPM stiffness.
275 CPM across the board with all their shafts. And the reason that's quite unique is, obviously, as the weight increases, normally with most shaft manufacturers, the additional material that makes the additional weight leads to more of a rigid shaft.
So they've gone in and actually maybe removed material or changed the distribution of it.
They've influenced the flex profile based on they've actually, I guess technically, you know, as they add more weight, they have to soften it down or change the profile slightly
to keep it the same
in order to make the same, you know, or same frequency, get it to match all the way. So what we decided to do in this test was get Matt to hit his gamer driver, his Ping G400 LS Tech, the 10 degree. So we tested that one with all three shafts in there. So we done the 455 M5, the 465 M5, and the 475 M5.
And the whole goal and the concept behind this was, can we do a shaft test where we completely isolate weight as basically the only variable?
The only variable. And there was a slight torque. There was a slight variance in torque, which we were actually very interested in as well, weren't we?
We kind of wanted to do a video on that anyway, so it's good we can kind of do both.
I think you know, you guys are often curious about the role torque plays and maybe how it can influence delivery and that type of thing. So I think this might serve a bit of a dual purpose here. It wasn't our true intention to go after torque, but you know, we get a bit of a double whammy by doing that. So over at the numbers, we would expect, Matty, by having true constant flex, i.e. no change in the flex of these shafts, the only change being really the weight.
Yes.
We would expect the performance to be quite similar.
On your good shots, I guess you would say?
Correct.
Your good shots should kind of fly the same way.
Pretty much. There shouldn't be much of a difference. And we saw that. Across the board, there was about 1 mile an hour of a ball speed difference.
Not much.
There was 0.2 of a degree in launch angle difference. Nothing. There was the highest spin rate we had was 2017. The lowest was 1983. Nothing.
This is as close as we've ever gotten three things to perform, I think.
It was quite interesting.
Really.
When we hit good shots, the ball flight was the same. Push draw. Your usual shape. Starts down the left, draws back. What we found, which was really interesting though, was you had a sweet spot where we found you were so much more consistent.
Yeah.
And that was around the 65 gram shaft.
Absolutely.
All right.
The lightest shaft was, as you said, like good hits, well struck with, you know, a similar delivery, I guess, were just as good. There was no real difference in the flight. But I had a really hard time hitting good shots with that.
Really
weight.
Difficult when we dropped you in the weight and to the point where we tested it twice, didn't we?
We redid it to make sure that it wasn't just me. But yeah, we had to hit so many more shots with the 55 just to get some decent ones to show numbers.
We were getting a bunch of outliers, weren't we?
Tons of outliers. I was hooking lots, I was pushing lots, I was striking them kind of all over the face. I mean, our
specifically in the toe, weren't they? They were really kind of sneaking out into the toe, so we were getting so much gear effect. That we were struggling to get the sort of consistent results. And the way we done the test, guys, was we went 455, then 65, then 75. So thinking, you know, that'll be a nice progression as we go along. Like we said, we kind of saw it at the end and went, well, the 455 numbers don't really match up to how good you hit 465 or even 475. Let's do 455 again. And that'll give us a true test to see, was it just the first lot of balls that you hit, or was it truly the weight that was a problem?
Yeah.
And it was the weight.
I think I hit the second try batch even worse, to be honest, with the 55. It just my timing got way off.
The timing was, and that's the punchline here, guys. Is that, you know, when we can control as many variables as we have done here, same head, same length, same flex exactly. You know, your swing can be so uniquely influenced by the weight of what's going on.
Absolutely.
We're not talking about the dynamics in the flex, because we've kept that the same.
Yeah.
We're talking about the mass in motion, which is what we're talking about here. 55 gram shafts, 65 gram shafts, and 75 gram shafts.
Yeah. Feel-wise, obviously, no surprise. The lightest shaft was significantly lighter even than the 65. I think the 65 and 75 felt closer. But going too light, would you say that going too light is, well, it must be for the faster player. That's the mistake that people make, is they go too light for the stronger player and they go too heavy for the slower player, generally speaking?
Can be.
Yeah.
Can be. You know, I think it can be. I mean, you see all sorts of misdiagnosis.
You get kind of everything, yeah.
You do,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
really do. I mean, people walk in here all the time with some you know, funky concoctions of
Setups,
heads
yeah.
and shafts. They really do. But yeah, I mean, you know, for you, the 455 M5 is probably for the player who, you know, moves on a pretty much a one plane golf swing.
Right.
Doesn't have too much change of you know, momentum, and just needs the benefit of swinging a little bit of a lighter golf club.
Right. And you've mentioned a little extra weight can help you kind of drop it behind you a bit more.
If you're that plane changer,
Right.
you know, that tends to kind of get a little aggressive and maybe, you know, swing a little from the top, generally that type of player will do quite well with the slightly extra weight. And then somewhere in the middle is our 65 gram shaft, which was by far our favourite for you.
I think something that you've mentioned before, and we saw with Sam and his fitting, was the difference that a shaft made, again, wasn't really numbers when you look at averages. It was all of a sudden when the right shaft went in, I actually felt like I could swing a bit faster myself. Like my club speed went up probably about a mile or two with this.
Right.
And just swung with more confidence. And I was able to get, you know, we get good data out of a small number of shots. We didn't really hit any real stinkers with this one.
Really never at all, guys. It was very, very easy for Matt to default into his lovely push draw that was flying around with 300 yards going out to 329. I mean, if you took those numbers to the golf course today, you'd be over the
ecstatic,
moon.
yeah.
So that's the key here, is that it's not a case of the numbers being bad.
No.
It's a case of, in real world scenario on the golf course, when you're hitting a shot, you're just more consistent with that
100%.
profile in those kind of shaft characteristics. So breaking that down for you, 3.5 degrees of torque, we'd consider that kind of a mid-range for torque.
And I think my TPT is around that range, isn't it?
About similar, yeah.
So it makes sense that one kind of suited me.
Absolutely. 275 CPM, which is fine. That's, you know, very much in the X-Flex region. 70 grams is the raw weight of the 65 gram shaft, but cut to length, it plays about 66 grams.
Gotcha.
That's exactly what we measured it at. So that's just the sweet spot for you, and to get the most consistent delivery for your swing. That's your sweet spot, and other people might be different.
Other people might see the red dispersion circle being the smallest, and maybe the blue is the biggest because it's too much weight for them. I think that I'm actually kind of glad that the numbers are so close.
So close.
Because it helps distinguish between, don't go changing shafts for delivery, or for ball flight characteristics. Do it to improve your delivery, and it made a massive difference in delivery. Like my consistency was night and day. But if you are able to deliver them the same, then you'll get probably the same numbers, because the head is the thing that's kind of giving you the ball flight. But
that's exactly it. I mean, this is basically saying you can have great ball speed, great launch, great spin, and it's not the right combo. Because you just don't do it often enough.
Exactly. I think that's probably the easiest shortcut to this. How often can you hit your best shot? And if it's the right shaft, you do it more often. If it's the wrong one, you'll do it once in a while.
Definitely. And that's, you know, when we're fitting in here, I see that all the time. I kind of someone, you know, may hit a good one and go, oh, this is great. I love this combination. Oh, okay, let's show me 5 more.
Exactly.
And,
which I couldn't do that for you.
You can do a bunch, and then we'll see, you know, what your good one and your bad one looks like. Because if I'm truly going to help you be a better golfer, I have to improve your bad one. the good ones, the good swings and the good strikes take care of themselves. We're not really that worried about those. We're really interested in seeing what does it look like when it's off. With a 55 gram shaft, you had a big dispersion pattern with that one.
Had some ugly shots.
Some ones you would struggle to kind of make pars or even some bogeys at times.
You'd be hitting out of bounds and taking penalty strokes and stuff like that.
And we know that's not your game. You're way more consistent than that, and we don't find that level of consistency we need when you go too light.
Yeah.
You're okay when you go a bit heavier.
Seems to be.
But you're not as dynamic.
And just a little bit slower, and probably just a little bit less comfortable and less consistent with the timing.
For sure.
And as you say, that may vary for someone else. Maybe slightly lighter is better for other people. Right. But shaft weight, the reason I want to do this is I think it's a question that I know you get all the time. We see it on the comments constantly. What do I do with weight? Does it make a difference? It makes a huge difference. I'm glad we were able to isolate it this way, in a way that I don't think any other manufacturer would let us do. No,
I mean that's the very unique thing. If I'm with a customer and I really like the profile of the shaft, but I'm really trying to kind of, I may actually use the Accra shaft line as a bit of a test for them, for me to actually go, okay, without worrying about any other variable, are they better in 55 or 65 or 75?
And then if you need to move them to a different bend profile in a different company, then so be it.
Interesting. Yeah, we do that as well. So, I mean, we know how popular this line is. You guys have heard us talk about it in the channel. Yep. This is the shaft that Tony Finau plays. A bunch of guys. I mean, the Tour Z line is really widely accepted on tour. By far, the 200 series, the slightly more tip soft version, is by far our most popular fairway wood shaft in the shop by far. It's not even close.
So that's a great one for people to look at.
Phenomenal.
You want a new 3-wood, test the
200
series.
That 200 series stands for a slightly softer tip section, 100 being the softest tip, 200 being a bit more responsive but stable.
Gotcha.
300 being much more stiff and maybe suited more towards a driver, and then 400 is very stiff. That's your tour level tip section, which is what we tried today, which was very good for you actually.
It was, and we've seen that before. No surprise that was a good fit, but this is interesting. So torque, I just want to touch on that really quickly. Highest torque obviously was the lightest shaft in this case.
4.2,
and lowest torque was the heaviest shaft, 2.9. Fairly low by today's standards.
Yeah, and fairly low by today's standards, but guys, that's more of a reflection on the quality of the materials being used today. There was a time about 15 years ago where shaft manufacturers, 10 to 15 years ago, where shaft manufacturers were really dropping torque a lot on wood shafts. And they were going very stiff. So there was companies like Harrison, the Pro Titanium 2.5, really dropping that torque down there. I remember, a lot of guys I would fit, especially, the kind of Scandinavian guys and, on the European tour and that type of thing, loved the Graphite Blue. 2.8 degrees of torque. Loved the lower torque feel. Just make it as boardy as you can possibly make it. I used to hear that an awful lot working with strong players. So, it can be often these torque profiles can be the perception of stiffness.
Interesting. That's where the feel comes in.
A lot of it's influence of feel. Another shaft I talk about quite a lot, which kind of cheats golfers a little bit sometimes, is the Mitsubishi Kurokage XT. Torque rating's a little bit higher for the guy who I go, okay, I actually need him to play a stiffer shaft but he's not going to like the feel of a stiffer shaft.
It's the first one you ever fit me into.
It was right. It was exactly with the M1. I remember it very well, 10.5. But that one is one I go, okay, so that one for you, I fit you into 70 TX. But I didn't want you to, because you were making a change from quite a soft shaft. I didn't want to all of a sudden burden you with this thing that felt like a telephone pole. So I kind of played you in that profile without you feeling like you were in it, because the torque is a little bit higher.
Interesting.
That was kind of the
It's a really misunderstood spec.
Just another kind of string in our bow where we can influence the player in terms of the performance versus what they feel. Torque is it's something we can play about with to influence the player's feel. I mean, UST had a shaft line a few years ago, still current, I still see them now and again, the VTS, variable torque system. They had the black, the low torque, the silver, mid torque, and then the red was the higher torque, all based on what you feel.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Does it have any effect dynamically in the swing? Like I felt when I mishit the 55 with the higher torque, the mishits felt really bad, and I felt like the club was really twisting on me big time.
So that's a great point, and people will go, I hit the, the torque really made made my ball go offline. Impact doesn't last long enough for that actually to have an effect.
Gotcha.
You will feel it, but the 4/10,000ths of a second that impact lasts for, faster than the blink of an eye.
Right.
Literally, the ball will, the impact interval, as we would call it, occurs, and then the ball leaves the face quicker than that torque has to actually,
to influence anything.
Exactly.
So it's a feel thing, basically.
Very much a feel thing. But one thing, you and I will do extensively when we get gears is we will do this test again.
Yeah, to check it out.
100%.
Yeah.
And once we get our test robot, and we know we've got some great news and that stuff coming up, we will again test different swing profiles. I mean, I want to test somebody who's an aggressive loader who comes over the top from out to in and down. What is torque doing in that scenario?
Yeah, which torque should they be using?
How much droop, twist, deflection do we get on that profile? I had some great conversations about that stuff yesterday, so I can't wait to deliver that set of results.
Yeah.
Just more knowledge.
Just kind of a nice little teaser to some stuff we're going to expand on. But I think it's an important one that I've wanted to do for a while, because this question I don't think has been tackled properly anywhere.
Right.
So at least people, when they're checking out, if they go to a store and they see a driver off the rack, it's on sale, the shaft is 80 grams, have some idea of what that might do for you. If the torque rating's super high or low, at least now you have some idea.
Exactly. If you're maybe jumping into stiff for the first time and you're increasing your speed, you might want to do it with a shaft that has a slightly higher torque in order to not really feel like you're swinging something overly stiff, and it doesn't give you a feel within your swing, and doesn't influence you to think you have to swing harder to make that shaft bend. All those sorts of things. Those are I call those the internal elements. There's external elements, and that's everything that happens with what I see and what I measure. But there's internal elements that you feel.
Yeah.
So when I give you a different club, you obviously get some feedback straight away how it feels. The famous waggle that everyone gives it.
I was giving him a bunch of those before I hit.
Exactly. So those are because you're getting internal feedback from that golf club.
Interesting.
So the internals and externals are very important to try to pick up from the players' body language and feedback, what's going on there, and then obviously the other stuff we're going to measure it. Yeah.
I think we'll get lots of comments on this, so we'll be very active in answering as many as we can.
I think people will give us their own feedback. You guys will have give us a time when you've felt something similar, or maybe hopefully this has helped you, lead you towards a shaft choice that you may not have normally made, or something like that. I think this will open a lot of questions regarding shaft flex.
Absolutely. Yeah, great stuff.
Good. Excellent, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Like we said, leave your comments and questions. We'll do our best. This is going to be one that I'm sure the comments are going to the ticker will be
plentiful.
Will be on fire, so which we love, so keep those coming, and we'll do our best to get to as many as we can.
That's good.
Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you again soon.